Today, of course, is Memorial Day, and it's the day that we honor the members of America's military who died in service. A memorial can be a statue, a building, or any other structure erected to commemorate a notable person or an event. And on January 25th, 1776, Congress approved the first monument ever commissioned by the United States. Richard Montgomery was an Irishman who settled in New York and became a merchant, but eventually became involved in politics and joined the American Revolutionary cause. And Montgomery quickly rose through the ranks of the Continental Army and was appointed a major general. In December 1775, Montgomery led an ill-fated assault on Quebec, hoping to capture the city and persuade the French-speaking population to join the American cause. Now, his death was a significant loss because he was considered one of the best American generals of his time. That made him one of America's first heroes, and here is how he's been honored. Benjamin Franklin, in France at the time, was commissioned to oversee the construction of a monument and was given 300 pounds sterling to cover the costs. That's about $45,000 today. In 1778, the Montgomery Monument was shipped to America and arrived where it was initially intended for Independence Hall in Philadelphia. But 10 years later, it was finally installed beneath the portico of St. Paul's Chapel in New York City. St. Paul's Chapel, located at Broadway and Fulton Street, is part of the Trinity Church, Wall Street Parish.
Trinity Church. If we have to go inside Trinity Church.
No, we're not. But we are going to listen as Joe Lipinski from the Ask Trinity Archives, a YouTube channel, tells us about the chapel, the monument, and why it sat around for so long.
To honor General Montgomery, the Continental Congress commissioned a monument, making it the first national monument actually, and that monument is what currently sits on the front porch of St. Paul's Chapel. Benjamin Franklin was actually in charge of the commission, and he selected Jean-Jacques Caffieri to design it in France. The monument was completed in 1777 and shipped to America, where it was originally intended for Independence Hall in Philadelphia. But because of the war and its turbulent aftermath, the monument languished in transit for nearly a decade, mostly in Edenton, North Carolina, which was the only American port not controlled by the British at the time of the monument's shipping. Benjamin Franklin was even unaware of its whereabouts for some time and wrote several letters inquiring about its location. It wasn't until 1787 that the monument resurfaced and was approved to be installed at St. Paul's Chapel. At that time, St. Paul's was one of the most prominent and culturally significant buildings in New York, which was, in 1787, the capital of the United States. Montgomery's remains joined the monument created in his honor in 1818, where he's now interred at the base of the monument on St. Paul's portico. Well, when the monument was installed in 1787, it was likely installed under the supervision of Pierre L'Enfant, who was most famous for his later designing of Washington, D.C. L'Enfant was tasked by Trinity's vestry with creating a sister altarpiece meant to obscure the backside of the Montgomery Monument. L'Enfant's glory altarpiece, which depicts the Ten Commandments, can still be seen from within St. Paul's Chapel today, but L'Enfant also intentionally included a small feature on the back of his altarpiece, which faces out of the porch windows and sits above the Montgomery Monument. This slightly obscured part of L'Enfant's sculpture contains a number of patriotic and American symbols, such as 13 rays of a rising sun with an eagle pulling back the clouds, and was very intentionally designed to complement the more visible Richard Montgomery Monument.
A decade after the chapel opened, the Great Fire of 1776 destroyed most of Lower Manhattan as well as the First Trinity Church, but St. Paul survived. The chapel and America's first official monument escaped destruction again on September 11, 2001. When its neighbor across the street, the World Trade Center, was tragically attacked. Now, finally earning its nickname, the Little Chapel That Stood, St. Paul's is still home to an active worshiping community and welcomes more than 1 million visitors every year. Thanks for listening to my story and watching this entire video. Now please join me for a moment to remember and honor our heroes. Because of them, we can count our blessings and stand proud today and every day.
Remember me. I am the one that held the line. When the nation called, I answered. In order to serve, I left behind the family, friends, and freedom that so many take for granted. I stayed up late and woke up early and trained in the mud and the rain and the misery. But also remember, I was not just a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. I was a son, a brother, a father, a daughter, a sister, a mother. I was a person like you. I, the soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, I, the American fighting man. I stood my ground and sacrificed my life, my future, my hopes, my dreams. I sacrificed them all for you. Don't waste it. Live a life that honors the sacrifice of our fallen heroes, so you can truly appreciate the incredible treasures you have. Never forget where it all came from. It came from sacrifice, the supreme sacrifice. Remember them. Always.